Hi, everyone. Bob Perkins here with AAISP's Inside Sales Studio, here with Mark Baird. Mark, welcome.
Always an honor, Bob. Thank you. I love all the content you put out there.
Mark is with Ascent Cloud, one of our great partners and sponsors. But today, we're going to talk about something very relevant. You know, Mark, we were all thrust into this lockdown. Managers were struggling with how to motivate, how to keep the energy up, right? We've kind of been through this, and now we got another challenge besides that, and that is the job market is booming. Lots of job openings. We did a recent compensation survey. We found that comp is slightly going up. So it is a job seekers market. It's good if you're unemployed, but it's not so good for companies that are losing employees and try to retain them. So what are your thoughts? What can you share with the viewers around this whole thing of motivation? What is it really? Is it simply handing someone cash, or tell us your thoughts on that?
Wow, big topic today, Bob. Never an easy one with you. So yeah, it's definitely been a journey the last 18 months here. And when we talk about, I guess, what maybe kind of employee recognition and acknowledgement and even long-term retention, I'm thinking of it kind of, what can I do kind of today over the short term, and how do I need to think about it over the long term, and how are they thinking about it over the long term? So we love the idea of contests. We're doing awards. So our company started doing core value awards to really single out top performers. And again, if I'm not saying that they shouldn't get more money, but they're certainly getting some public acknowledgement, which goes a long way from a love language standpoint with some folks. So, some of us like to compete. Some of us like to win a game. Some of us like to be acknowledged and celebrated. But I think in terms of the setup you gave me, go ahead. What were you gonna say?
Yeah, I was just going to say, those are all great. I mean, in my day, I would love to do spiffs and the first person to make 10 calls, all that. That's great. Don't give that up. But you and I were talking earlier about what does it mean for someone to really be happy and motivated for the long term? How does a leader support that, or what did they do that maybe doesn't support that?
Yeah, well, so this is probably the crux of that struggle around kind of job transition right now. And I think we all bring our personal goals into our work life. And so if you have aspirations to be in a different role, in a different industry, in a different capacity altogether, there's a lot of things within our organization I can put you into that will help prepare you for that will help kind of scratch that itch for you. But it's specifically for inside sales folks, the notion that, it's a big step from I'm kind of beating 100 calls out of you to, where are you trying to grow? How can I nurture your career? How can I make sure at the end of the next, 12 months together that you're in a better spot personally and ideally financially?
Yeah. So what you just described, I think, is the whip cracking, tough manager says, you got to do this, you got to do that, versus one that is really invested in the person, helping them to the career that they want to have. Does that include the culture of how that leader sets?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's exactly right. I just started watching the Ted Lasso show last night, and you just love the energy that a good leader can bring. And again, in a career like sales, where we don't win every day, we don't get what we want out of every call. You have to have a growth mindset, and you have to see how the effort and the push-ups you're doing every day are getting you to where you need to get to. And I think that's what's got me thinking a little bit more long-term around, what do they need to do today? Are they skilled in what they need to do? And for sure, where do they want to go? Because to your point, as we started, there's options for those folks. And candidly, as a sales professional, I'm excited to see the growth. I'm excited to see the opportunities. I'm excited to see our industry transition. And my job is to try to keep a pulse on it and try to make sure my team's getting what they need.
Yeah, so we'll sort of wind up here a little bit, and I'll ask you one more question. And you mentioned about making sure that the leader is mindful of where that individual really wants to get to, whether it's hitting above quota, whether it's getting to a manager level. Can you leave us with one final tip for a leader? What do they do to really invest in that individual's future? What are some things they can do?
Yeah, well, there's a little bit of I think early leaders are scared to walk into that conversation, right? You know,
Sure.
because you sit down with somebody and they're like, well, I want to be in your job for the next 6 months. You're like, well, you know, I want that for you too, but I don't know if that's exactly going to go that way.
Yeah,
and so
yeah.
you guys each have to kind of set down your swords to kind of go into that conversation and have a real candid conversation about what's possible and where they'd like to go and how you
Sure.
really can help. And that's a brave step one for both sides. You know, you have to trust me to share, and I have to trust you to realize what I can and can't do for you.
So have the conversation. That's
Got to start somewhere. Got to start somewhere.
That's a great tip to leave with a leader. You know, have that in-depth conversation. If nothing else, it sends a message that you care about the person, if nothing else. So, all right, Mark, let's see, your colleague is coming back on for a follow-up, I believe, in a few weeks. So
Correct.
How are things going at Ascent Cloud? What's anything you can leave the viewers with? What's new with you guys?
Well, we're continuing to invest in the sales performance management space, and you know, specific for us is that kind of front end of the game, the gamification, the contests, how can we? We're heading into the badging space, into recognition, into into a way where I can kind of either physically or automatically acknowledge somebody in a persistent way inside Salesforce with some acknowledgement of what they've done. And again, these are things that are almost free for me to give away today, and I need to do more of as a manager. And they build towards some of these other longer term things.
Someone once said to me, it's almost hard to recognize someone too much. It's easy not to recognize them very much, isn't it?
Right. Well said. Yeah, we never get tired of hearing hearing that we're doing a good job. I don't think anybody's ever said you got to stop telling me that.
You bet. All right, Mark, this is really good. Some good insights. We'll talk to you again soon. Everyone, thanks for watching. And until next week, good selling, everyone.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
Bob.